Rams Nation, welcome to this special edition of a Rams Up Roundtable. I'm Ian, that's Mark, that's Paul. Welcome to the Rams Up Podcast Network as we are here celebrating the Rams winning the NFC West Division crown. As I am wearing a 2024 Dodgers champions, but I'll just throw this little Rams thing in the middle here. 2024 champions of the Western National Football Conference. And that's a good thing. So I'm trying to channel that winning energy by wearing this hat. Shout out to family for shooting this hat to me for the holiday period. So I'm sure same thing with you, Paul. But gentlemen, how we feeling? Division champs.
Yeah, it was a long day, but everything fell into place. It took a while Sunday night. Man, that game was crazy. And Michael Penix, man, I know everybody loves Jaden Daniels. My first real look at Penix in an NFL uniform, and he looked pretty darn good. And I was I was rooting against him, obviously, but man, I think both those teams have really good quarterbacks moving forward. But bottom line is, we got the W. We got 3 wins today that we needed this weekend. We got the Bills, Vikings, and the Commanders all went our way, and we're champs. Pretty cool.
Pretty damn cool. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, that was a fantastic game. Two young quarterbacks, rocket arms, nothing but heart. And obviously we're a little bit biased, but more importantly, we had Raheem Morris there, right? The blue and soul, man, Royal and soul runs deep, right? We're, in the back of your mind, you're like, all right, we can still do it in week 18. You can have this one, Raheem. But you can see what a great job he's done there. The team's already like in the playoff hunt, man. What a great job, and then pulling the trigger in terms of putting Penix in there. I mean, the kid's a beast, absolute beast, and you gotta love that connection with London Drake, man. Just awesome game, awesome football. Pumped up for the Rams. I just want the playoffs to start tomorrow.
Yeah, these playoffs, Rams Nation, we're gonna host a playoff game. Isn't that insane? After that 1-4 start, man, oh man, what a long way the team has come, the organization, and even us as fans, with all our frustrations that have been out there for all of us to digest. Man, oh freaking man! But you know what? Shout out to all the other fan bases who I'm sure were aware of some sorts of the other teams' hopes and dreams. So to Rams fans, to you Bengal fans out there, to you Bill fans, to you Vikings and Commander fans, we say thank you for your good juju this weekend and helping us win the NFC West title. As anyone watching here on YouTube, thank you very much. We have a fun little meme here of The Office and other, Michael Scott-esque characters. We have a Rams CEO man with his Rams hat shaking the hands of a clueless and shocked and surprised Bengals, Bills, Vikings, Commanders fan in this meme here. And that's how we all felt after that big win on Sunday Night Football. But all the things that needed to happen, gentlemen, happened. And gosh, you know who else is pretty happy? Michael Hoyt's got his championship hat ready, throwing up the number one, as he says. Yep, we are at number one in the Western Division. But wow, I didn't know drop shipping and all that was that fast out here in LA for him to have that hat ready to go, right, Mark?
Yeah, and it's I think Michael Hoyt is developing this personality, kind of our social media PR darling for this team, which is kind of cool. Yeah, and the other big winner from tonight too is the Bucks, right? And I know we're going to get talking about playoff scenarios, but I want us to have to. It's possible we could have to go through Tampa Bay to get, probably not, but if there's a scenario we have to go through Tampa Bay, we've gone through Tampa Bay for both of our Super Bowl victories. So keep that in mind. Maybe we'll have Tampa Bay on our travel agenda moving forward. But they're big winners tonight too, with the way that turned out in Washington there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Paul, we got to get these NFC West championship hats too, right?
Hollywood Hoyt might have a little bit more pull than we do. So, but we definitely going to give it a shot. We're going to send Mark down there, Ram Nation. Mark's got a lot of influence with McVay and Snead, so we're hopefully he can pull some strings.
So that was fun to see, and I'm sure everyone in the Rams organization is celebrating, just like Michael Hoyt was sharing with us on X, formerly known as Twitter. But something else that was brought up to our attention on all the Rams universe kind of blowing up with this division crown happening is that Stu Jackson, who works for the Rams, always has fun stats to share as well. Shout out to him posting this on X Twitter. Rams are playoff bound for the 6th time in 8 seasons under Sean McVay. They are NFC West champions for the 4th time in 8 seasons under Coach McVay, in addition to already reaching at least 10 wins for the 6th time in 8 seasons under McVay. It's been a successful campaign. We all know McVay saved this franchise from being a bottom feeder for pretty much the entire St. Louis era, and that, the year 1 of LA Rams 2.0 with Fisher. And he gets us mad for coaching stuff that'll probably never end. Games that we're like, what the hell? But welcome to the NFL. Nothing's ever cut and dry and it's simple. But I am grateful that we continue to be winning in Los Angeles, and we're having fun with it, right, Mark?
Oh yeah, it's man, just remember the dark days, those Fisher years, and before that, Spagnuolo and Scott Linehan. Oh man, what a change! And
brutal.
we have to be the envy of the NFC West. I know some of these other franchises, and namely the 49ers, would not admit it, but hey, the last since McVay's been here, we are. I mean, everybody's had their moments in the sun, each franchise, but a year in and year out, it's the Rams, 2 Super Bowl trips under McVay, 1 win, and another shot this year. It's good times. I mean, McVay and Snead together, quite a combination. So, man, with Stafford at the helm, let's make one more run at it. Another Super Bowl. It's possible, Not the way they played, or the way the offense has been performing isn't very promising in that regard. But hey, I still have hope they can get their act together and make a run to the Super Bowl here.
Yeah, me too. I mean, what about you, Paul? Thoughts on McVay's tenure and, again, winning the West?
Yeah, he's just done a great job. The winning percentage already surpassing Coach Robinson, rest in peace, right? In such a short period of time just speaks to, the consistency, right? It's really the term model of consistency really does apply here. And he's done a lot of pauses also for the public image of the Rams as an organization in terms of he's always emphasized professionalism. And I think that's gone a long way to changing the public image of the Rams too. And obviously the ownership, shout out to Kroenke, just by far the best owner in sports. I don't think it's even a discussion at this point. Yeah. Whatever, he's got the Midas touch when it comes to that, because, there's a lot to be said about that, to being, I don't really think the term hands off applies. He's strategic in what he does. He brings in people that he trusts, and he trusts that they have the expertise to do their job. So shout out to him. And he invests his time and money in the appropriate areas. So just a class organization all around.
And another shout out for McVay that we sometimes forget is he has to deal with massive turnover with his staff virtually every year, and that's something that a lot of other coaches don't have to deal with, I don't think, anyways. But he has to reorganize and shuffle his staff and hire new people virtually every year, and guys in key positions too. And it always works.
Yeah, it is really incredible, all that switching around of coaching staff. I mean, we really, really need to just sit back and just be like, holy crap, we've had a lot of people come in and out of this organization, players, coaches, executives, scouts. And what's the constant? Coach McVay coaching this team up, gathering a good group of human beings, both front office and Leslie too, and all his people. I mean, it's worked out beautifully. Shout out to Kroenke for having the cash and not being a meddling owner only when the money and other big financial moves need to be approved. And that's what you want in any type of ownership, not like what's going on in New York or other places around the NFL and other teams in professional sports, which I think everyone could think of very quickly on who are those on the bad side of ownership. But we're very lucky, and shout out to him, shout out to McVay, shout out to Demoff, Tony, Les Snead, and everyone under their toolage, and it's going very good. But gentlemen, it's insane. Do you want to know why? We're going to get a Jimmy G game, most likely. We're finally going to see if Garoppolo is going to earn that $11 million to get us to 11 wins, right? And I know there's some scenarios out there where we could still drop to the 4th spot in the playoff, the 4th seed, and we're currently at the 3rd. Obviously, there's tons of things that still are going to go down this upcoming week 18. But Garoppolo, I think, has pretty much punched his ticket to be playing the entire time in week 18 against the Seahawks. But Paul, I know, man. How do you feel?
Yeah, that's why I called it the $11 million game, right? It's $11 million to get to 11 wins. So,
yeah.
And I'm having trouble even remembering his name. Who is this player we're referring to? But like you said, it would be great if we could get to 11 wins, right? If the Rams have really come a long way, it'd be very useful just to anchor their seeding more so than anything else, right? They're in, but when you start taking a look at all the various possibilities, I mean, we just shortly went over it off screen, but you can see it gets sort of dizzying, right? Because there's still so much in play. You have a game tomorrow, then you have the whole week 18 schedule. So it's a much more significant game, I think, than at first glance. So I think the Rams are content taking whatever happens approach. But if you think about it, even if they do play their reserves, at some of the key positions, they still, like, we were just talking about, they still got enough firepower there that they can, make a serious run at a dub. The other question is going to be like how Seattle approaches it. That's really going to be the key to that scenario, is how do they approach that game?
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that, Rams Nation, I mean, we just got the NFL just dropped all the games for week 18. So Rams hosting Seattle Sunday at 1:25 p.m., our normal, LA style kickoff around that 1:00 time period. And again, it will most likely be the Jimmy G $11 million game for 11 wins. And it just makes me laugh. I know I know your qualms with that signing originally, Paul, and me too, to a large degree. But Mark, how do you feel about Jimmy G? Most likely leading us to a potential 11-win season, or at least getting us.
Hey,
Spot.
I wish there had been more opportunities to get our backup quarterbacks into games. And actually, we had opportunities, and there were a couple blowout losses. We could have got one of these guys in, because you need to give them some game time. And I'd also like to see a little bit of Stetson Bennett. We probably won't, just out of curiosity, if nothing else. But there's other guys. I've been writing down some names of guys that I'd like to see. And again, just out of curiosity, Cody Schrader, the running back that we poached off the 49ers. The 49ers cut him. The Rams picked him up. Ronnie Rivers, get him some game time. Dylan McMahon, remember him? Everybody was so excited. The Eagles were so upset when we poached him off their practice squad. I don't think he has a snap this year. Get some of these guys out there, see what they can do. Again, just out of curiosity. But especially the quarterback position, there's a chance, Stafford wraps his knuckles on a helmet and has to go out for a quarter. This is an opportunity to get guys like Jimmy G a little bit of playing time just in case that happens. And, you don't want it all just to, the season be totally screwed by one small injury. I've always been a big proponent. Find opportunities to play these guys, and NFL teams are really averse to doing that for some reason.
I know, for whatever reason, these resting people, getting people in the game, not affecting stats, not affecting team stats, and all these things that we just as fans probably don't think of in the moment. I mean, let's just be real. Teams are at play, bonuses for certain stats for players, right? Extra cash incentives. There's a lot of these things we just don't think of till you get closer to the end of the year and you realize, oh, he's like 5 catches away from an extra 100,000, or he's a touchdown away from an extra 500,000. All these things like we just don't think of, and I think that has a lot
breaking
of
Eric Dickerson's record.
yeah. I mean,
Going after
Yeah, I was just
Saquon,
thinking about that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, thanks to our contribution to Saquon's career day on Sunday night, now he's a lot close. If he didn't have that 300-yard total yards game, then he probably wouldn't be close to getting that record. So we can only blame ourselves for that being a possibility of that record going down. But, Eric did it in 16 games. I know there's 17 games that teams play now. And I know people argue about O.J. Simpson doing it in 14 and so forth and so forth. As more games we're going to continue to be added as we're all enjoying watching football.
Now they play the Giants next week. So I think the Giants will be fairly motivated to make sure he doesn't get that record as well against them.
Well, I hope so. But are we going to get, Giants where Drew Lock's throwing 5 touchdowns, or are we going to get the shit Giants that show up, pretty much every other week of the season and had the number 1 pick for majority of the year? Who freaking knows, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But, well, we hope Eric Dickerson contains that record, and we'll see how that happens. But Rams Nation, like we were talking about, the game against Seattle, meaningless to some degree in terms of, playoff hopes. But with that said, just like last year against the 49ers, this is not the preseason where everyone's just going to be sitting out because we have a 90-man roster. You're only allowed those 53 spots, and then a majority of those at the tail end of that 53 are, healthy, inactive scratches. So expect many O linemen to play. Expect many D linemen to play because those are just shorter positions, just like last season where Avila and a lot of the O-line were playing. And expect a lot of the secondary to be suiting up and playing as well. But I think we all could agree, no Stafford, no Kupp, no Nakua, no Higbee, no Havenstein, and anyone else who health is paramount for the playoff tournament. And we can probably think of others on defense as well. But I think all the young guys will play, right? It should be a big Jordan Whittington game, a big Tutu Atwell game. Probably D-Rob will play, I assume. Probably, get a lot of Xavier Smith at wideout and a lot of Tyler Johnson. So all the young guys who can play and have made plays for us, I expect them to produce with Garoppolo as long as Garoppolo's not playing stupid. But we shall see. We shall see. And
we got plenty of tight ends to play, so we'll be
that too
there.
Yeah, I mean, other than Higbee, I expect Colby, all those guys to suit up. But real quick, I'll start with you here, Paul. In that Week 18 game, if things are going south in that game, right, we're just getting absolutely whooped, and starters are in, do you keep him in just to be hopeful that, okay, don't get hurt, we're short on bodies, so we can't really yank you out? What would be that threshold for you to say, okay, let's get him out? Who cares if the score ends up being 42-0? I'm just going, obviously, dark timeline version here. What would be that threshold for you to say, all right, Avila, you got to go. All right, young D-line, you got to get out of here. We'll just throw in all the backups. So be it with the score. What is that fine line with you? Because I know this Rams organization is going to try to win the game.
Yeah, that's a tough call, right? Because there's a couple things here. You don't want to give away anything either. Yeah. That's the other part of it. So going into the playoffs, what you're showing in terms of plays, alignments, also, you want to keep it as vanilla as possible. You also want to run the ball a ton. You don't want any play stoppages. You want that clock just to be rolling. You want as short a game as humanly possible. The threshold for me is like I'm like old school, the way you used to do it. You pick a number of drives. Whatever happens at the end of those drives, you got the B unit coming in, and then you got a C unit coming in after that, and you're just basically, looking at the clock and just counting it down. The problem is, every time they say they're trying to avoid injury, somebody winds up getting hurt. That's exactly what happens, right? But like you said, you pick like your core group that's going to go in. You remove, like, for example, we have the luxury of Stafford not being in there, right? We have this gentleman that's going to be starting, right, in that game. And like Mark said, you got great players that need to get some playing time just so because they might get the call. our Super Bowl showed that, right? Bryson Hopkins was the starting tight end at some point in that game, and he came up huge.
Yeah.
So, what we call a little bit of seasoning here and there. McClendon, how important is that going to be to get him some reps, maybe a guard and tackle? Even if it's for, just a couple of series, I think that would be important. Huge. Justin Dedich, backup center. I'd love to see him in there again, get some more work. But once again, you're also risking your depth, but that's the name of the game. That goes with the territory. But my threshold would be you identify early number of drives. That's what you go by. And then you got to hold fast to that. You got to trust that. And then just count it down from there.
Yeah. What about you, Mark? What would be your threshold of what we know there's going to be a handful of starters that play?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking more. Let's take the offensive line for example. We could start. I'm pretty sure we could go Noteboom, Dedich, Jonah Jackson,
Jesus,
Dylan McMahon, and Warren McClendon. Okay, you could start all 5 of those guys. The problem is, how Seattle approaches the game, and if Jimmy's just getting torched, and just getting smeared, is that fair to him? Is that fair to the rest of the team? If it were me, I would try to roll with as many subs as possible right from the get-go. I don't think McVay is going to do that, though. And then the other problem is what if one of these guys go down? Then what do you do? It's like, hey, Rob, you don't want to do that. So I don't know. It's a dilemma. I don't care what the score is in this game. I just don't care. It's 60-0. I don't care. And whatever gets us there, whatever is a sensible way of getting out of this game healthy. Maybe, like Paul said, you got to start a few guys, get them a couple of series, get them out. I don't care about the score. It's like that preseason game when the Broncos dusted us 40-0 or something, and I was crushed. I was like, what are we doing here? And Les Snead's is like, it's a preseason game. Who cares? And then I think we, ran off like 4 straight wins at the start of the year. So
yeah,
this game, I don't care. I'm going to, once a game starts, I'm going to be rooting for us to win.
Right.
We're going to want us to win really bad. But the sensible side of me says I could really give a crap what the score is.
Right on. Respect to that for sure. But yep, regardless, Rams Nation, we will be hosting a playoff game, but we'll find out after week 18. Will it be Saturday sometime, Amazon early slot? Will it be on Sunday early slot, prime time? Or will it be the standalone on Monday night? And if I had to bet some cash, I would bet we're probably going to be on prime time on one of those days. I just think whoever our matchup will be, I think all are very favorable for any network to bid on and want to host. And I think you can just bet your money we'll be playing at 5 o'clock in LA Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. But before we get out of here, let's just acknowledge this. Shout out to Rams PR putting out more fun stats for us. The Rams became the first team in NFL history to enter their bye week with a losing record and make the playoffs in consecutive seasons. They're also just the 14th team in NFL history to make the playoffs after starting the season 1-4. I mean, remarkable. Remarkable. What about you, Mark? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, I'm certain of this, still outscored by their opponents with a 10-win team outscored by their opponents. Pretty crazy. But who cares? Who cares? First place, home game, first round. Let's go.
Let's go. What about you, Paul, on this history-making couple years?
Yeah, it just speaks to the statement, trust the process, right? It's a growth model. Professional sports is all about the growth model. The team that wins in the playoffs is not generally the best team. It's the hottest team, right? The team that's the best team in probably that last quarter part of the season. And that's exactly what's happening. So the teams that are peaking right now, they're the ones you're seeing doing a lot of damage. So that's what they talk about: persistence, resilience. We talk about the building blocks all the time, right? And there you go. Just keep stacking and stacking and stacking until you meet your goal. So great job to the coaching staff, to the team, to the fans. Ram Nation never quit on this squad. The squad didn't quit on itself. And, the coaches and the organization stayed invested, and now they're reaping the benefits. Well done.
Well done indeed. And Rams Nation, our Los Angeles Rams are NFC West Division champions in the 2024 campaign. Absolutely freaking fantastic. So excited to go potentially to a home playoff game. I'll figure it out. I'll try to get my behind there no matter what day it is. Once those things get announced, that'll be such a fun time for super meaningful football at SoFi Stadium yet again. And gosh, what a good time to be a Rams fan. So shout out to all of you supporting the team. Shout out to all of you supporting us here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. We very much appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and share this video and podcast with all your fellow Rams fans and football fans out there. We very, very much appreciate it. But that'll do it here on this special edition of the Rams Up Roundtable. I'm Ian. That's Mark. That's Paul. We very much appreciate you tuning in. And go Rams, baby.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Shout out to my people out of Wheatley School, out of Trinidad, Washington, and Chevy Chase, Maryland. Shout out to the people out there. Shout out to the Washington Football Club, the Commanders, for bringing it home and helping and usher the Rams into the playoffs. And shout out Washington National Baseball Academy.
Shout out to them, and shout out to you, Rams Nation. Peace.